Under the burning sun in an all but deserted area north of Djibouti, they are gathered. Hundreds of refugees who've run away from the war in Yemen, crossing the sea in search for safety. Dhikra has 2 children. She's been camped out here for weeks in conditions she says are unbearable.
The children are finding it impossible to stay here. Some of us are diabetic, some have heart problems. We can't cope in this heat. There's no electricity or cold water.
There are more than 1,000 refugees here in Obokh. The UN appears to be struggling to cope. Many of the refugees still haven't been allocated tents, and inside the storeroom there's not a great deal in the way of food or clothing for that matter. Holes have been dug up to serve as toilets. Tiny wooden cubicles out of which repulsive smells emanate, making you want to throw up. The UN has set up a vaccination program and is providing clean water, but the refugees say it's not enough.
The international community hasn't fulfilled its obligations, especially the Gulf. They should come here and see how we're living. The heat is unbearable, the children are getting sick.
Although here in Djibouti they are safe from the fighting in Yemen, conditions at this refugee camp are dire. The United Nations says it's doing its best, but with the influx of refugees continuing, unless the international community acts fast, things could get even worse. An international donors conference is expected to take place in the coming weeks. The camp supervisor tells me it can't come fast enough.
We call for neighboring countries to open the doors for refugees, for Yemeni refugees, and we hope that the international community will move forward and provide support.
All of the refugees we spoke to tell us of how they were terrified by the constant shelling and mortar fire by the Houthis and forces loyal to deposed President Ali Abdullah Saleh, who they say were targeting homes and residential areas. Finding a safe place for their children was all they could think about. Now those children are safe from the fighting, but they are by no means out of harm's way. Diseases could easily spread here, and many of them have already fallen sick. The hope for those of them still playing, seemingly unaware of their own plight, is that the world will hear their calls for help.